There are moments when life seems to resist our plans, right? We struggle, we insist, we run against time, and yet something inside us remains restless. What if I told you there's a way to free yourself from that anxiety? Ancient Buddhist teachings reveal a powerful secret. Trusting in the natural flow of life can transform your mind, your heart, and your way of walking through the world. In this video, I'm going to show you how understanding and applying the wisdom that what is for you will come can change everything. Less fear, less pressure, less suffering, more serenity, more presence, more confidence in your own path. If right now you feel like you're fighting against the current, this message is for you. So stay with me until the end, because this reflection could be the starting point for a much lighter and more fluid life. If this message resonates with you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share in the comments how this reflection speaks to your journey. Let's walk this path of serenity together. Understanding life's natural flow. Life is not a straight line that will obey each of our desires. It's a river that flows, sometimes smooth, sometimes turbulent, but always in movement. Resisting its course is like trying to stop water with your hands. The more you force, the faster it escapes. Understanding life's natural flow, according to Buddhist teachings, is accepting that everything has its rhythm, its time, and its purpose. In Buddhism, existence is seen as a dance of causes and conditions. Nothing happens in isolation. Nothing occurs by pure chance. Everything flows because everything is connected. When we try to control every detail, when we want things to happen exactly as we imagine them, we suffer. It's like wanting a tree to bloom in the middle of winter. No matter how much we desire the flowers, they will only come when it's their time. True wisdom lies in observing the current without wanting to change its direction. Just as a river finds its way around rocks, our life also knows how to adapt, open new paths, and move forward. When we release the need to control, we discover something wonderful. Life is not our enemy. The flow is not here to defeat us, but to guide us toward where we really need to be. Imagine for a moment a navigator. He doesn't fight against the wind. He learns to use it in his favor. So too, when we trust the flow, we stop wasting energy on useless battles and begin to move forward with more lightness. It's not about passively resigning ourselves, but about acting with wisdom, knowing when to row and when to let ourselves be carried. This understanding liberates the mind. We no longer live prisoners of anxiety about what will happen or frustration, about why it didn't happen as we wanted. We live in the present, open to opportunities that arise, grateful for unexpected paths that also lead us toward growth. Trusting the flow is not giving up. It's choosing inner peace as a travel companion. The roots of our suffering. Much of the pain we carry doesn't stem from what happens outside, but from the way we cling to how we want things to be. Buddha taught that suffering arises from attachment, from the intense desire to control, from resisting to the inevitable. It's not change that makes us suffer, it's the internal struggle against change. Every time we idealize an outcome, every time we cling to an image of how our life should be, we're sowing the seeds of suffering. When things don't turn out as we planned, and they rarely do exactly, we feel frustration, anger, sadness, not because life is unfair, but because we resist accepting its natural flow. The human mind, in its protective instinct, seeks certainties. We want guarantees, we want security, we want to feel we have absolute control. But life, with its silent wisdom, teaches us that everything changes, everything transforms, everything is impermanent. And when we resist this universal truth, anxiety grows, fear settles in, and suffering becomes a constant. Attachment, that need to hold on to everything tightly, becomes an invisible prison. It locks us into expectations that can never be completely satisfied. It makes us look at the future with fear, and at the present with dissatisfaction. And so the present moment, the only one that truly exists, slips through our hands. Understanding the roots of our suffering is the first step to freeing ourselves from it. It's not about renouncing our dreams or goals, but about walking with them in open hands, not clenched. It's about living with commitment, but also with flexibility, with passion, but also with acceptance. When we embrace this vision, we begin to experience a different lightness, a peace that doesn't depend on everything going well, but on knowing we can flow with whatever life presents us, trusting that even detours have their reason for being. The wisdom of letting go. There's a profound truth that when we understand it, transforms our way of walking through life. What is for you will come. Not through inertia, not through resignation, but because when you let go of the need to control, you allow the universe to deliver what truly corresponds to your path. Letting go doesn't mean giving up or stopping action. It means trusting. Trusting that not everything depends on our strength, our insistence, our fear of losing. In Buddhism, it's taught that clinging creates suffering while letting go opens space for peace. It's like trying to catch water with your hands. When you stop squeezing, the water simply flows. Let's remember a simple but revealing story. A Zen master used to carry a cup of tea in his hand during his teaching. Sometimes he held it so tightly that the liquid spilled. Other times, with gentleness, he kept the tea in balance and asked his disciples, "Which of the two ways allows me to enjoy the tea?" The answer was obvious: holding, not gripping. So too must we hold our life, our dreams, our relationships. When we let go of obsessive control, we don't stop desiring good things or renounce our projects, but we stop suffering for what hasn't arrived yet or what moves away. We learn to trust in life's cycles, that each season has its own moment for sowing and harvesting. The wisdom of letting go teaches us that some doors close to protect us, that some delays are silent acts of love, and that even voids that hurt can be spaces preparing the ground for something greater. Every time we let go, we gain something invaluable, inner freedom. And from that freedom, we begin to walk lighter, less anxious, more open to the mysteries that life's flow has to offer us. When to act and when to let go. Sometimes confusion doesn't come from not knowing what we want, but from not knowing when to take a step and when it's better to wait. The balance between acting and letting go is one of the finest arts of the spiritual path. And although it may seem complicated, life itself constantly teaches us how to recognize that rhythm if we learn to listen. Acting is necessary. Conscious action, directed with wisdom and heart, is a powerful force, but not every action is true movement. Many times we move driven by anxiety, fear of losing opportunities, the need to prove something to others or to ourselves. Acting from that place is not flowing. It's fighting against the current. Buddhism speaks to us of right effort, one of the steps of the Noble Eightfold Path. It's not about striving blindly, but about acting from a state of presence, understanding, and detachment from the result. It's acting when conditions are fertile, when intuition, not impatience, guides us. Letting go, on the other hand, is not passivity. It's recognizing that we've already done what was in our hands, and now is the time to trust. It's understanding that we cannot force the ripening of fruit or hasten the blooming of a flower. There are moments when insisting only generates more wear, more pain, more disconnection from ourselves. How then do we know when to act and when to let go? By listening to the body, observing the mind, and feeling the heart. When action is born from an internal space of clarity, serenity, and purpose, it's time to act. When action is permeated with anxiety, desperation, or fear, perhaps it's time to let go, to breathe, and to allow life to also do its part. Learning to differentiate these moments is like learning to dance with existence. Sometimes we lead the movement, sometimes we let ourselves be carried, but always we are in connection with a wisdom greater than ourselves, and it's that wisdom that little by little teaches us that living is not fighting all the time, but learning to move, in harmony with the natural flow of all that is. The trap of control. Trying to control everything that happens around us may seem at first like a way to protect ourselves. We want to make sure things turn out as we plan, that people act as we expect, that life doesn't surprise us with its unexpected turns. But behind that need for control hides a silent trap: anxiety. When we believe we must have absolute dominion over every detail, our mind fills with fear. Fear that something will go wrong, fear of not being enough, fear of losing what we love. And the more we try to tighten life's threads, the more tense our soul becomes, the more fragile our inner world feels. Buddhism teaches that life by nature is changing. Pretending to control the uncontrollable is like trying to catch wind between our fingers. It's useless and exhausting. True strength doesn't lie in dominating every situation, but in cultivating a flexible mind capable of adapting to changes without losing its center. Letting go of control doesn't mean being indifferent or irresponsible. It means trusting. Trusting that you can get through any situation, even when it doesn't develop as you expected. Trusting that life, in its mystery, sustains you in ways you perhaps can't see now. And it's precisely in that conscious surrender where a new freedom is born. A lightness that doesn't depend on everything being perfect, but on knowing you can navigate imperfection with inner peace. Comparison is poison. There's no more silent poison for the mind than constant comparison. Every time we look at another's life as a reference to measure our own, we weaken our confidence, our worth, and our inner peace. Without realizing it, we enter a battle we can never win because there will always be different paths, different stories, different moments. Buddhism teaches us that each being is unique, like a flower that blooms at its own rhythm, in its own soil, under its own sun. Comparing our trajectory with another's is like asking an oak to grow like bamboo, absurd and unfair. Each carries in their roots what they need to flourish in their own way. Comparison is born from forgetting our own essence. When we forget who we are, when we stop honoring our own path, we seek outside a validation that deep down can only come from within. And in that forgetting, dissatisfaction is born, envy, sadness without a name. Freeing ourselves from comparison is an act of self-love. It's remembering that your life doesn't have to resemble any other to be valuable, that your rhythm, your achievements, your silences, your struggles are sacred. It's accepting that true success is not measured in external applause, but in the peace you feel when you are true to yourself. When we stop looking sideways and start looking inward, we discover something extraordinary. We don't need to be better than anyone. We just need to be authentically ourselves, and in that authenticity, life becomes much lighter, much fuller. Trusting in life's flow doesn't mean that everything will unfold exactly the way we imagined. It doesn't mean the absence of obstacles, the absence of pain, or that life will always be smooth and linear. No, it means something far more powerful. It means recognizing that, even when the path twists in ways we didn't foresee, even when the winds change without warning, there exists within us a sacred place, a quiet refuge, an unwavering center that no storm can touch, a place of calm, of clarity, of deep intuitive knowing. And no matter what life throws your way, this is the place you can always return to. This is the real strength we cultivate when we stop exhausting ourselves trying to control what is uncontrollable and instead choose to trust, not blindly, but courageously. In a world addicted to certainty, speed, and instant gratification, choosing trust is almost an act of rebellion. We are constantly told that we must have it all figured out, that we must have a 5-year plan, a clear map, and all the answers neatly arranged. But the truth, if we're willing to listen, is that life doesn't operate like that. Life is not a straight road, it's a river. It bends, it meanders, it pauses in stillness, it accelerates, it surprises, and often it carries us to places far more beautiful, meaningful, and transformative than anything we could have planned. When we zoom out, even for a breath, we begin to realize that life is not something happening to us or against us. It is happening for us. Every detour, every silence, every unexpected pause, every heartbreak, every delay, they are not mistakes. They are brushstrokes on a painting so grand that from our limited perspective, we simply cannot see the full picture yet. But that doesn't mean the picture isn't forming perfectly. And yes, this doesn't mean suffering vanishes. Pain is part of the sacred curriculum of being human. But what changes, what profoundly shifts, is our relationship to that pain. It stops being something that crushes us and starts becoming something that shapes us. Its sharp edges soften, its suffocating weight lessens. When we stop resisting what is, suffering transforms. It becomes fertile ground, rich, potent soil where resilience takes root, where wisdom blossoms, where compassion flourishes. It is from this soil that the most beautiful versions of ourselves grow. So, right now, wherever you are, whether you're sitting quietly, walking, driving, or simply breathing, pause, take a deep, conscious breath, place your hand gently over your heart, close your eyes if it feels right, and look back, not with judgment, but with love, at everything you've survived. Every mountain you've climbed, every night you thought you'd never make it through, every tear that fell, every fear you faced and realize you're still here, you're still standing, you're still growing. That alone is a miracle. Let yourself feel it. Let yourself feel proud, not because you were perfect, but because you were human, because you kept going, because you are learning, because you are brave enough to be on this path of growth, healing, and transformation. And from this space, ask yourself with honesty and gentleness, where in my life am I being invited to trust more? Where am I gripping too tightly to control, to certainty, to outcomes? And what would it feel like to soften, to surrender, to trust that life knows something my mind cannot yet see? Because here's the deeper truth. Life knows. Your soul knows. Beneath the noise of fear, beneath the endless mental chatter, beneath the doubts and the stories that say you're not safe or you're not enough, beneath all of that, there is a quieter voice, a wiser voice, a loving voice that has always been whispering, trust me, you are held, you are guided, you are not lost, you are exactly where you need to be, even if you can't yet see the why. And when you begin to listen to this voice, just a little at first, then more, a shift begins, a lightness, a freedom, a softness, a peace that no fear, no uncertainty, no failure could ever steal from you. You begin to move through life with more grace, with more presence, with more openness to the mystery, to the unfolding, to the sheer miracle of simply being alive. So thank you, truly. From the depths of my heart, thank you for walking this stretch of the path with me, for showing up, not just to this video, but to yourself, to your healing, to your growth. If this reflection resonated with you, if it spoke to something deep within, I warmly invite you to leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel, so we can continue nurturing this beautiful space together, a space of self-knowledge, of presence, of transformation. And I would love to hear from you in the comments. In which area of your life are you being called, right now, to trust more? Where are you willing to surrender, to release the grip of control, and let life's river carry you to exactly where you're meant to be? I send you an immense, heartfelt hug, full of light, full of gratitude. And remember this, always, trust. Even when the way isn't clear, even when the road feels uncertain, even when the answers haven't yet arrived, trust. Life's river always knows the way, and when you let go, when you finally allow yourself to be carried, you'll realize something extraordinary. It was never trying to hurt you, it was always trying to bring you home.